Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of my F1 22 modded Myteam career mode. Here we are in, I don't know what episode number we're on, but we've got the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix today. If you did miss the last episode for the Bahrain Grand Prix, be sure to go check that one out. But we have a little department event here, getting some team acclaim in for some cash, in exchange for some cash, so quite happy with that. And yeah, if we look at Team Acclaim, we're level 12, so I'd like to get up to 15 before the end of the season, get that third sponsor going into season 2. But yeah, we'll just go straight into the race weekend. There's not really too much to do in the way of admin, although we did have this email last episode about a regulation change. That's been confirmed, so we've got some parts to protect. It's on the powertrain department and the aerodynamics, so I'm glad it wasn't on the chassis, because we've got quite a few upgrades on that side of things. But I think only 6 parts on the downforce or the aerodynamics, so we're going to try and focus on that, because we're right at the bottom of the grid in terms of aero. I still don't know why those upgrades haven't unlocked for us, and that's quite frustrating. But yeah, we're right at the bottom of the performance comparison chart as well, so that's less than ideal going into this race weekend. But I do feel a lot better around this circuit than we did at Bahrain, and hopefully we don't make such a stupid setup change. But we go into qualifying then, and this is actually Q2. We managed to get into qualifying 2, so obviously that performance comparison chart's just kind of a rough guide as to where the cars are, but we didn't do so bad, you know. We're not doing so bad in terms of 1 lap pace at least, so we'll see what happens as we come out the last corner. We do gain. It's only going to be about half a tenth, but it's going to be good enough for P11, so qualifying at least, we're on it basically. We'll have to see what the race pace is like, but yeah, I'm more than happy with P11 there.
Here in the United Arab Emirates on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 16 corners here at Yas Marina Circuit, 7 to the right and 9 to the left. It's a total lap distance of 3.28 miles, 2 long straights and overtaking opportunities throughout the lap. We expect average speeds of around 123 miles per hour. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position. And starting next to them is George Russell. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Esteban Ocon, Evans, Leclerc. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Hamilton, Joe, and Valtteri Bottas. Magnussen, Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty. And Vettel. Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Mick Schumacher. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Nicholas Latifi, Sato, Norris, Tsunoda, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, so in terms of strategy, the default strategy is actually the 2-stop, and I am kind of tempted to try it, you know. I think on those softer tyres, because we're qualifying quite high up the grid in, I think P6 it was, after those grid penalties. I think if we can stay with the kind of leading pack and maybe get a gap to the midfield, I think we should be in contention to score some points. We'll just have to see what happens. It is going to be a bit of a gamble, but as the 5 red lights go out, away we go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And we're going to come into T1 and we just get absolutely swamped trying to take it careful. We've got people sending it left, right and centre on us. Just like that, we're down into P10 as we re-overtake Vettel there. So back round about where we started, but that pack in front of me there, they're the guys I need to be staying with and kind of using to pull away from the guys behind. So we'll see what happens. We have a McLaren in his mirrors, so that's going to be that's going to be a tough one to kind of pull away from. But we carry on down this kind of back straight. Now we're going to look up the inside of Zhou Guanyu, very nearly going into the back of the guys ahead, and that's kind of spooked me a bit. And Zhou Guanyu just gets alongside us, but he hops the curb and that ruins his exit. And now we're in the slipstream of Magnussen. An important part of the race here, I need to, like I say, stick with this pack and try and gap the cars behind if we can, and use these soft tyres to full effect, basically, to give us that pace advantage as we come on to lap 2 then, and we're alongside Magnussen in that Andretti Haas car, and he's going to send it up the inside, and that forces Hamilton to go a bit wide, which in turn forces us a bit wide, and that's put Zhou Guanyu right back in his mirrors. So that's really not helped us out at all, and all of a sudden I'm feeling like this strategy call were a bit of a bad idea, as Magnussen's having a go at Hamilton. And I did have a call from my engineer to say that Hamilton has a mechanical issue, as you can see at the end of the lap. We've pulled right up alongside him, and we're not going to waste any time. I want to overtake him, and maybe with that mechanical issue he can hold up a couple of the guys behind us. Zhou Guanyu manages to get past him easily enough though, so I'll have to keep his eye out for him. But in the meantime, I just need to get into the DRS again of Magnussen. That's going to be the most important thing here, is staying in the DRS down these back straights. We just about managed to get it down this straight, so yeah, that were pretty close. But we managed. Zhou Guanyu is going to have DRS on us as well, but you've got Ricciardo, he's over a second behind Zhou Guanyu, so we'll see what his pace is like. As it looks like he's having a bit of a scrap with Hamilton, but as we come on to lap 7, Ricciardo's caught up a bit, and I've lost touch a little bit with Magnussen, who's absolutely on one. He's chased down Ocon in that much quicker Renault car, so fair play to him. He's doing a good job, is Magnussen. But lap 7, it's time for us to come in for our first pit stop, and we didn't really make as much time in that first stint, as what we really needed. So as you'll see here, we're just going to fly down the order. I was hoping we'd have a bit more of a gap to the other cars, but it's not worked out for us, and I have a really bad feeling about this strategy now as we come into the pits for a stop then. And yeah, even worse is we have an issue in the pit stop, so we lost another couple of seconds in the pit stop there, which was really not ideal. We have Albon behind us, he's coming to pit as well. So yeah, I wonder what his strategy is. I don't know if he's on the 2-stop. But we come out all the way down into P19 then. Meanwhile on lap 9, Sainz comes in for his first pit stop, but he's on the medium tyres, so I'm not sure why he's coming so early. But that puts Russell into the lead of this race then in the Mercedes Monster. And then you've got Leclerc in P2, closely followed then by Verstappen. And he's got the other Red Bull behind him of Perez. So the top kind of cars, about what you'd expect. Then you've got the Renault of Ocon in there, then Magnussen. This is about where we need to be coming out, kind of around P6, 7. That's where we need to come out after everyone's done their pit stop. So this is lap 13, Leclerc's coming in, so I think the medium tyre runners, the 1-stop runners, are coming in for their first pit stops then. So we'll see where that leaves us. And it's only going to be P13, after everyone's done their stop. So we just didn't have the pace on as kind of outlaps compared to these guys. Even Gasly's got the jump on us out of nowhere, basically. So we need to be getting past him as quick as we can. Magnussen's only a couple of cars up the road, and is only about a second in front of us. So we did come out about where we were behind Magnussen, but it looks like Zhou Guanyu's got him as well. So yeah, we lost a good couple of positions there, so we don't have the overall pace. But we go on board with Gasly as he comes back at us, as we made that overtake on him. He's going to have the DRS. We left ourselves without it. He's going to nip up the inside. I try a bit of a kind of switchback move here, but it didn't quite work. I'm still trying to kind of work out how to do that new corner, that kind of long sweeping left-hander. And yeah, Gasly holds on to it, and this is going to hold us up even more, which is really not what we need. We need to be going forward and getting past him as quick as we can. We can't really afford to be spending all this time battling him. But as we come across the start-finish line, there should be a couple of other cars doing their pit stops as well, so we should gain another couple of positions. There's P12, we managed to gain P12, but it's only the one position as Norris comes out ahead of us, and Ricciardo's somewhere up the road as well, so that's really not worked out for us, and we still have another stop to do. Remember, all the guys around us, they don't, so yeah, I think this strategy call was not a good one as we come on to lap 16. There's a bit of a train forming behind Norris as he doesn't have the DRS, you see, and Magnus and Gasly and myself do, so even though Norris is in that much quicker car, because of the DRS, we're it's kind of pulling us along. But I'm coming in for my second pit stop. We're in P12, and yeah, we just didn't have the kind of pace that we needed really to get the gap and make this strategy work, as loads of cars are flying past us now. We're down into P15, a couple of other cars coming past. There's P17 we're in now. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do on this last stint. So we'll see where we are. We're a good 7, how many is that? 7.5, maybe 8 seconds behind Albon. So yeah, a lot of work to do, and not too many laps to do it. Only 12 laps, but it is Russell who still leads the Grand Prix. Then Sainz quite close behind him. I think Sainz is on a 2-stop as well. And then you've got the likes of Verstappen. He's in P3, so he's overtaken Charles Leclerc now, as there's Sainz just going on the straight. There's Verstappen, he's rounding out the podium, and then you have Leclerc, but very closely behind Leclerc is Sergio Perez, the other Red Bull, trying to make a move on Leclerc. He's got the DRS open, and we'll see if he can make a move. Meanwhile, here's Ocon, we've got Zhou Guanyu and Norris. Here's Lando Norris going past Zhou Guanyu on the start-finish straight, and they're going to go side by side. And oh, was there a bit of contact there between Norris and Ocon? I think that is, as we're on board with Zhou Guanyu. He's side by side with Norris. Here's Norris, and this is a Titanic scrap these two are having as they go down the straight. Norris looks like he got the better exit, but it looks like the Audi has the overall straight line speed. Norris goes defensive, holding that inside line, and he does manage to get past Zhou Guanyu, who I think has a little bit of front wing damage after that. And just to confirm here on lap 23, that is Zhou Guanyu in the pits, and that's us up into P15 now, so one more position and we'll at least get us a sponsor objective, which I think we're a top 14 finish if I remember correctly. But we've got Zhou Guanyu, he's quite close behind us, only 1.2 seconds, and you can see Schumacher's 10 seconds ahead, so it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's just going to be a race for P15, I think, for us at the end here as we come into the last couple of laps. And Zhou Guanyu is going to have DRS on us as we come down this kind of back straight. And I think there's not going to be much we can do to defend against this. The Audi looking absolutely flying in a straight line. I mean, look at that. There's not really much we can do to defend against that. After his pit stop as well, he's going to be on much fresher tyres. He did make a bit of a mistake over the curb there, but his car was just placed very awkwardly. There was nothing we could do about it really, and yeah, as we have DRS now, we're not making the same gains he was on us in a straight line, so it might be P16, might be his finishing position here in these last couple of laps. And look at that, just like that, he's disappeared, he's gone, nearly a second ahead of us. So yeah, struggling at the end of this race, and this strategy not worked out for us at all. I think the one stop was the quicker strategy, and Tsunoda's only 3.5 seconds behind us, you know, so we have to keep our heads down. This race isn't over yet as we come on to the last lap now, skipping forward, and Tsunoda has closed up by quite a considerable amount there. He's only just over a second behind us, and we're going to struggle, I think, to keep him at bay as we charge down into this new hairpin. We're in P16, so no points scored. We've dropped 10 positions in this race. That's not good at all. I think it's not very often I tend to drop positions. It's also not very often I qualify so high up the grid. So, but Tsunoda is in our DRS now, so he's going to be closing up to us down this straight and the next one if he doesn't make a move as as rival in this championship. It's pretty crazy how many races this season we've had where the last lap has come down to me and Tsunoda having a bit of a scrap. It's pretty crazy, but he's going to look for the move round the outside. We take the defensive line round the inside, and we live to fight another day, but he gets a bit of a better exit there as we come into this right-hander. He's going to try it round the outside. We squeeze him out a little bit there, don't really give him the room to work with. There's a bit of understeer there. I never seem to get the car turned in early enough. As we come round the last couple of corners, I think we've just about held Tsunoda at bay, and that's going to be a very unfortunate P16 for us there. So yeah, strategy not good. I think considering where we qualified, we had a massive missed opportunity in that race. So yeah, big shame.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
And as it turns out, I forgot to record the kind of ending sequence with the standings. So here they are then, the standings. After that race, we're in P11 in the drivers. We're looking to kind of, I think, just secure that position. I don't think we're going to catch the Renaults and McLarens. In terms of constructors, we're in P6, but only just, with Andretti Haas 1 point behind us, Jaguar 2 points behind us, and I think that's the title fight we're really going to be, well, not the title fight, but the position we're going to be really looking to kind of secure. I think P6 for our first season, well, it's I think that's as good as we could have hoped for. So we're going to be looking to secure that. It's going to be a tough job. Those Andretti Haas cars looking really quick. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know which buttons to click. Leave a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.